Taurus Collective, hello. How are we doing, Bull Gang? Let's find out. Is anybody else dealing with feeling just irritable? Maybe breaking things? Kind of clumsy, dropping things just not working. I mean, it could be Mercury, but you know. I got that same thing from Leo's reading. So you could have Leo in your chart. I'm a Leo rising. Or you could be dealing with a Leo, so you're picking up on their energy, which is irritating the hell out of you. As Leo can do. Or maybe it's just me. Let me know. So, let's see. And one more for the Magician. Alright, let's see what's kind of in the, what's just popping the hell out. The Hangman in reverse. The Three of Wands. The Devil. Could be dealing with a Capricorn, but I feel like this is indecision or being in a place of transition and in between, right? What is that? The Lovely Bones? The in between? Which is a lovely title and beautiful cinematography, beautiful soundtrack, but a horrible, horrible story. It's really heartbreaking. But we have the Six of Cups, the Knight of Wands. All right, so we have the Three of Wands is looking at the Hanged Man in reverse. Now, the Hanged Man in the upright can be someone who is in and out. You could be dealing with a Pisces. You could be dealing with a Virgo, right? Because that would be the polarity of Pisces. But the Hanged Man in reverse is somebody who is, the Hangman in the upright is somebody who's looking at things in their own unique way, right? They have a different perspective on the world. This is somebody who could be superficial and looking at things the way that everybody else looks at them, right? It could be somebody who's sort of just following the mainstream, very sheep-like, somebody who's reluctant to break out of traditions, break out of conditions, cycles, right? This is somebody who's sort of really stuck in their ways, right? Because the Hanged Man is that mutable energy. It's somebody who's kind of looking at things in an ambiguous way with mutable energy, which is air and water, which is masculine and feminine. It's the current, right? It's the modality of ambiguity and analyzing, observing, introspection, right? Looking at things from a sort of introverted way, right? And this person feels like they're looking at things, maybe they're being extroverted, right? They're trying to look at things in a way that makes it easy on their ego, that makes it easy for them to fit in, right? That makes it, because if you've been in this position, if you've ever been in the Hangman position, which cycle breakers are, and a divine union is a combination of two cycle breakers coming together. So this is your person that's, maybe they've been dealing with sobriety, right? They've been looking at things, they've been breaking their own cycles, and then things just got a little bit too tough. Maybe they had a tower, maybe they just sort of felt like they were waiting too long with that clock there. It was kind of like time is on my heels. They could be older, or they could just feel like time is of the essence. And so because they weren't seeing the results of their actions, they weren't seeing the rewards, they weren't reaping the rewards, they sort of this is somebody who has shaky faith, right? So they've come into this place where they're like maybe dipping back into some of their attachments with the devil energy, dipping back into overeating, overspending, scrolling, right? Just not using their time wisely and not in a place of gratitude for the work that they've done or respect for the work that they've done. They're sort of in a, maybe having a little bit of a pity party, right? And it's not to say that they're not, that's invalid in any way, because it does feel like this person has been working very hard. This could be you, this could be your person, but I feel like you might be picking up on the subliminal 5D energy of your person, and it might feel like this doesn't make any sense. So it's aggravating you in your space because you are actually, you feel grateful, right? But you could be feeling more on edge, more irritable, not really able to focus. Your sleep could be disrupted with the hangman. As Pisces, that is, the third eye, dreams, right? When your dreams don't come true for so long, it's kind of like, well, I guess I'll just get into things that satisfy me now, because I'm not seeing the reward. I'm not seeing my wheel of fortune. It doesn't feel like it's turning in my favor. So that could be you could be your person, could be both of you, because you're under this, you're closer to coming together, and that means that demonic influences and shadows and this devil energy is going to be hotter on your heels. And that's that kind of time. Time is a condition, right, that we have attributed to our relative reality, right? And so this could mean anything. It might not be time is of the essence, but it could feel like anything that we've put a condition on, right? And that would fit into the feeling of traditions and conditions, and that sort of just lower vibrational energy is coming in to disrupt the work that you two are doing, because you're close. So you're a greater threat to the ongoing spiritual battle between high and low, good and evil, whatever, all that stuff, just like the essence of our entire existence. And then we have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is, now in this deck, it feels like an attachment, right? I mean, they are literally attached to the womb. This could be family ties, traditions, right? An old cycles, old versions of self, right? So this person could be feeling, whomever this is, whether it's you or them or both of you, this energy is somebody who is maybe looking through old photos, comparing themselves to past versions of themselves, which is that devil energy, right? That doesn't, anytime you compare past versions of yourself or to others outside of you, then comparison is like the devil's work, right? It doesn't serve anybody, because that's a condition, right? So love is unconditional. You cannot be competitive with people that you love. If you've ever been in a competitive partnership, or maybe you grew up competitive with your siblings because you had a narcissistic parent that pitted you guys against each other. Anytime that you've been in that situation, competition is not healthy when it comes to shadow work, right? If you're talking about maybe, the sports, there's like healthy competition, but everybody's agreeing to that. Everybody's playing and they know the terms. And so when you compete in love or in relationships, platonic or romantic, not everybody is aware that there is even jealousy or that there is a need to be competitive, because that's not in our nature, right? That is a manipulation of our nature. That is a demonic influence. That's low vibrational frequencies. So to compare to others. And then the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is going the opposite direction, right? They're riding the flea, right? It's like they're taking everything that they learned from the parasitic, vampiric, narcissistic upbringing and past relationships and all of that. They're taking all that and they're using it as a tool to move, in a different direction. And they're moving toward, they're coming in hot toward this Six of Cups. And Leo had the Six of Cups to confirm the Six of Cups. And then we have this Wands energy. So you could be dealing with a Leo, right? Again, like that energy is pretty heavy. Page of Wands and the Six of Swords. I already shuffled this, but I felt, I don't know. I'm gonna do two more. Clear the fear. All right, tell me about the Hangman in reverse. I just had some brunch and it was delicious. That's all I wanted to say. Queen of Wands. And the Four of Swords in reverse. Yeah, this is somebody who is not in their, they're not channeled into their intuition, right? Because the Four of Swords in the upright is about meditating. It's about balancing your thoughts, your words, communication with self, communication with source. And this in the reverse means somebody's not doing that. So needing to tap back into your breath work. And that was the major message for Pisces as well. So again, could be dealing with the Pisces. Now we have the Queen of Wands. So this is, now the Queen of Wands, to clarify, the Hanged Man in reverse. Now that could be that hot and heavy, right? Maybe just going with passion. If you don't have balanced air to support a fire element, maybe you have fire in your chart, right? And in your rising sign, or in your moon with the Hanged Man. Or maybe they do, but, or you could have cardinal energy because that is fire as well. But there's a fiery, passionate, heated sort of energy here that if you don't have balanced, if you either have blocked air, right, completely blocked, snuffed out, then your fire's not going to have enough source of inspiration, right? Through breath work, we heat up the heart space, we heat up the heart chakra. And that allows us to be inspired to follow our heart, right? To follow our intuition, where if it's completely blocked and snuffed out, we're going to be feeling very depressed. We're going to be feeling unmotivated, lacking inspiration, lethargic, exhausted, overwhelmed, right? This is an imbalance of thoughts, right? Imbalance of communication, imbalance of breath. Now, if there's too much of this, right, because the Four of Swords can inspire, right? When you do breath work, you can inspire and heat yourself up. You can bring some life into that flame, or you can tone it down, right, by doing some rhythmic and sort of like you can do lion's breathing to really like heat yourself up. And then you can do some box breathing, right? Or some meditative breathing that's very calming, that cools you down. Because if you have too much air going on, too many thoughts, too much communication, maybe you're over-explaining yourself to people, maybe they're over-explaining themselves to people, right? Again, this is a mirroring, so you guys are picking up on each other's energy because you're very close to union. And so it's everything is kind of clarified or magnified, and so it doesn't feel very clear though. It feels a little bit unclear, but it will be clear, right? But you have to put in the work. So if you're picking up on your person's energy and you're like, well, there's nothing in my life that tells me that I should be feeling aggravated right now or frustrated, everything feels okay, everything feels balanced, I'm just kind of doing my thing, I'm waiting for my person, whatever, still do this work, right? Because you can if you're picking up on their energy, they're picking up your energy, right? So you may have to do, like in any relationship, sometimes we have to pick up the slack of our person. Sometimes they're struggling, sometimes we're struggling. We have to help compensate, right? That's why it's never 50-50. It shifts in and out of one of us being in a more masculine energy, one of us being in a more feminine energy, and allowing ourselves to surf with that and just kind of ride that wave, right? Because grief hits us at different times, loss hits us at different times, where we're going to have to go into a more introspective place, right? We shift in and out of energy and phases in a way that we're really going to have to lean on our person. I'm sitting on the floor. I just did a bunch of weed whacking and my shoulders are sore because it's been a while since I've done any kind of workout. So I'm just now getting back into yoga and breath work myself, and so my muscles are like, what? So basic things are kind of kicking my ass. So if you do this work, you could be just doing extra work, right? Extra nurturing, extra patience, right? You might have to turn it up, right? Might have to tune in a little bit more. I don't want to say aggressively, but maybe, just like the magician, you have to wield your elements in a different way. And some elements take the lead while others sort of take the back seat. They're still there in the car, but they just take on different responsibilities at different times in our life. So you may have to do this for your person, right? You don't have to, you're not obligated to, but this is your person, this is your best friend. Why wouldn't you want to help them out, right? So just because, and if you're like, well, they need to get their shit together and come into my life, if that is something that's running through your mind or in your energy, and you're feeling irritable because you're impatient with them, then that's a condition. You're telling them that they need to be doing anything different than what they're doing, and they're reacting and working through their own stuff. They're a whole other person, right? They have their own stuff going on. They're working through that in their own way. So we not only have to have grace for ourselves, but it helps. We don't have to. Again, we're never obligated. You don't have to come into union with your person. You don't have to connect with them. And you can be, stuck in your ways. But I feel like your person and or you are struggling. And if your person's struggling, you're struggling, vice versa. So I feel like, do the work to help them out, right? You're not going to do the work for them. You're not reaching out to them. This is all energy work. This isn't physical coming in, paying their bills or whatever, I mean, if you want to do that, that's up to you. But this isn't you coming in and being their source of inspiration, right? But through calming or igniting your own frequency, your own Queen of Wands energy, it's going to only help them. It'll help you because it'll keep if you're feeling bugged out, it's going to help your energy, which keeps the frequency higher, right? And a divine union is all about high frequency. All divine unions are twin flames, but not all twin flames are divine unions. And some divine unions are... I love tarot. I love it so much. And in a divine union, it's a higher frequency, right? You can be in a lower frequency and still be twin flames. You could still be connected. But the divine union is when you are both on a high frequency. Okay. So to clarify the Three of Wands, we have the Moon. So yeah, see how the Moon is shining down on this Three of Wands? The Three of Wands is typically initiating a plan, moving forward. It's a journey, it's a path, it's a new direction. It's very inspired, it's very balanced with the three. You're really tapped into your body, mind, your spirit, your Holy Trinity. In this situation, this person is kind of, again, it feels like they're, whomever this is, they are looking at past versions of themselves. They could be looking at their family, right? Things that they're going to have to cut out once and for all. Before they completely cut that cord, there is a moment of confusion, lack of clarity, grief, right? Because you're going to have to lay these people to rest energetically. You have to lay these past versions of yourself to rest. Especially if you have maybe not been taking care of yourself, or if you've been in this reversed hangman energy, if you've been in very stuck or complacent or in hermit mode for so long. Taurus loves comfort. Taurus loves a comfortable environment. Their homes are very warm, their space is very inviting and nurturing. But when you're in hermit mode, and if you're single in hermit mode, that space can become all too comfortable, to where like you're gonna have to be a little uncomfortable, right? You're gonna have to get into a place where that's temperance, right? That's temperance, that's getting into a place where you are moving forward, right? That's what the Three of Wands is. The Two of Wands is making a decision. The Three of Wands is activating on that path, that decision. And so this is you're taking the choice that you've made with the Two of Wands, and then that third one, which is the Ace of Wands, that's the inspiration for the new thing. That's the new, and then the decision is always a choice between the old and the new, right? So when you bring those together, the inspiration and then the choice, you have Three of Wands, and that's the only time that you can move forward, is making that decision to go with the new, right? You can go with the old, free will, but that's not the divine path. The divine path is new, the divine path is forward, the divine path is direct, it's decisive, and it's disciplined. And that's going to take a lot of energy, right? But it will be worth it. And there's a part of you that knows that, or this person that knows that, but there's a need to really make that final sever and know that you cannot look back, right? Looking in the rearview mirror shifts your focus from what's ahead of you, and then you can crash, right? But the moon is shining down over it, so it is kind of like, making that decision, feeling very emotional, very in your moon energy, again with Pisces. But Pisces is in a more feminine place, and then when you have Cancer, which is the other moon sign, it's like the major moon, because that is its ruling celestial body. Cancer's ruling celestial body is the moon. That is the masculine aspect of the moon, because it has cardinal energy, it has that fire energy, right? That ignites, that heats that water up, and gets it moving in a direction that is forward, and that's to the benefit of whomever is moving. So we have the moon, and you could be dealing with any water sign. You could have water in your chart. We kind of have all this stuff in the chart, so it goes without saying, but the energy is the water of, we have Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, right? So this is a very emotional, feminine energy, right? It's very much the needing to nurture yourself. And if you're feeling aggravated or frustrated, then there is a need to just bring it in. There's too much going on, too many minds, there's too much going on. And so you need to bring it into a place of nurturing, feminine energy, right? Drink more water. Or don't, free will. Drink water. Like a water formation in the military. We have justice with the devil, right? When you make this decision, the devil can only influence your decision, right? But when you make it, it's saying, like the labyrinth, you have no power over me. And that's when justice comes in. That's when justice is like the karmic balance. And so if you're at all concerned, as a side note, if you're at all concerned about somebody that did you wrong in the past getting their due karma or justice, first off, knock that shit off, right? Because that's black magic. You're putting negative energy towards somebody else. You're trying to influence somebody else's path. That's toxic. Don't do that. Don't do that if you're doing that. This is just knowing that when you make the decision for you, when you stay on that discipline course, right, which we are fixed earth energy, we are double earth energy, which is the discipline. Fixed signs are the discipline of the action. Cardinal fire sign, fire signs are the leaders, the decision. All right, so fire makes the decision, fixed stays disciplined with it, and then through discipline we find discernment, which is the mutable, ambiguous, right? We find when to stay, when to go, when to get into our masculine, when to get into our feminine, when to get into our head, when to get into our heart, between the swords and the water. And so justice is saying, stay your course, right? Keep the eyes on your lane, right? And so if you're at all worried about somebody else, refocus, right? And you do that by going within, getting into that mutable energy, getting into that introspection, that self-inventory, checking back in with self, checking back in with source, going through the steps, right? If you were kind of tipping into maybe drinking again, or overeating, or scrolling, any sort of just lower frequency activities, behaviors, thoughts, anything like that, this is your way of balancing that out, right? Getting your introspective self back, analyze yourself, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that's that, like if you're looking in the rearview mirror, check yourself, check your lane before you wreck yourself, right? And then that's when that ignition comes. Ignition. How does that song go? And then to clarify that Knight of Wands, we have the Hangman in the upright, right? Hangman in the upright. Which is getting back into your perspective and only concerning yourself with your perception, your relative reality, your subjective reality, because it's the only one that matters on your divine path. That's it. The Hanged Man is looking at things in your own way, dancing to the beat of your own drum. See, there's no timer here. This person is just waiting. There's patience here. So I feel like there's a need for temperance here. Temper yourself. Practicing restraints, fasting, anything like that. Eliminating, and that's the devil, is attachments, that's Saturn energy, right? And we just came out of that retrograde, that bullshit. So it's like that you could still be feeling residual Saturn energy. Maybe you have Capricorn. Maybe check your Saturn, what's in your Saturn placement, and just and you could be really heavily influenced by that energy of whatever that sign is that's in your chart, that could be really pulling you. So maybe a Pisces or Leo in your Saturn, right? Or a water sign in your Saturn. Maybe you have Sagittarius in your Saturn. You can also check your Jupiter, like see what placement for Temperance, which is Sagittarius, which is Jupiter. See what's in there. Knowing your own chart is just helpful to kind of know what's going on, but essentially it doesn't really matter because we all are influenced by surrounding energies, right? So signs of other people around us. We might be influenced by the planetary alignments and the moon cycle and whatever our top 3 are, whatever's in which house, right? Astrologically, we can be influenced by all of these things. But the best determination for that is knowing thyself, right? Because we're not purely influenced by anything, because we have, polluted our system, right? We've polluted ourselves. We're not totally in balance. We've been lied to with narcissistic, abusive, conditional upbringings, chaotic, children of chaos, right? We've had to relearn ourselves, but we cannot, through shadow work, but we cannot eliminate the influence of those things, right? It's like you kill the bacteria, but the bacteria is still like a living organism, so its carcass is still there, right? You're still consuming the dead bacteria, so it might not be live, but it's still there. Or like a virus. When you have a virus, you might not be seeing the symptoms. It could be dormant, but you still have the virus in there, right? That's kind of how shadow work is. You transmute that energy, and if you're seeing symptoms of a virus that you already have put a lens on through going through the major arcana, right? You go through hermit mode, you go through the mutable energies where you are doing that introspection, doing that self-inventory, analyzing the self, playing the observational lab scientist on yourself, then you know what it means when you have certain symptoms. So you could treat the symptoms, and that's kind of how it is with your chart, right? With whatever's going on energetically. If you're feeling aggravated, it's very simple. It's like 1 + 1 = 2, right? It does, right? If you're feeling like if you're overthinking, and you know that's a shadow aspect of yourself, or if you are feeling complacent or depressed, uninspired, right? Do breath work, right? It's like the advice is very simple. It's always kind of like very one size fits all, right? When you're talking about like if this chakra is blocked, here are some regimens, here are some practices, here are some ways of getting unblocked, right? And then you can adjust and modify it to fit you, because you know yourself, because you've done the work and you understand how you function, what works for you, what doesn't. So it's, I don't know if that makes sense, or if that applies to what you're going through, but it feels like maybe, you could be like looking for a solution and feeling like the answer is right there in front of you, but it feels more complex. We like to make things more complex than they really are. We're not that complex. Humans are pretty simple. And the divine path is not easy. It's much harder than the demonic path, for sure, but it is simple. And the demonic path is easy, but it's complex. So if you feel like you're confused, you've got this moon energy, things are unclear, then you know that you have demonic energy around you, which is mirroring, because like attracts like, it's mirroring whatever's going on within you, okay? 34 on the clock there, so 7, 7, 14, 5. That's a lack mentality, right? So if you're feeling like your wheel of fortune's not coming in, then practice gratitude, right? Because like attracts like, so you have to get yourself on the frequency of attracting the thing that you feel you're missing, right? Because the fives are all about perceived lack, right? You have everything that you need, and if you're like, I don't have everything I need, I'm struggling, I can't pay my bills, I'm lonely, I'm this, I'm that, then what you're doing there is you're being conditional with other people, you're being conditional with yourself, because you're pointing the fingers at other people and saying, I'm lonely because my person is not getting their shit together. And I feel like this is your person saying, like, and maybe indirectly, and this could be the universe speaking, but the divine couple, the divine union is the universe. We're all from the universe, but this is more, the calling is more directed from the universe, if that makes sense, because you decided, you made the decision to be in this incarnation, to be a cycle breaker, and to this to be the lifespan that you connect with your twin flame in. So when you've done that, there's a contract that you make, and so you have to hold up your end of the bargain, all right? And sometimes we just have to get out of our own way, and that's how fixed signs really are. They can be very motivated, very determined, very disciplined once they're on the track, right? Now, if they're on a very self-destructive path, they're going to do that shit to the fullest. They're going to be very hedonistic and, extremely indulgent. Now, if they're on the divine path, once they make that decision, it's like they're unstoppable. And Taurus especially is like, getting a bull moving is nearly impossible. You don't want to force or rush a bull. So also, if you're putting out forced or rushy energy towards your person, and if you are dealing with a fellow fixed sign, you should know better, right? Nobody likes to be rushed, and particularly not a fixed sign. And all that does is makes them dig their heels further into the ground, because they're like, you're not the boss of me. And you're not. You're only the boss of yourself. So, all right, enough of that. I feel like that's not what people want to hear, but that's what they need to hear, is like, you are the creator. You are the God of your universe, of your reality, right? So instead of blaming other people, instead of blaming circumstance, right? You're alive. You have breath in your lungs. Like the Revenant, if you have breath in your lungs, like, keep breathing if you have breath. And Leo is a Scorpio. There's two fixed sign energies there. Maybe your name is Leo. I was raised by a Pisces named Leo. So there's Pisces, Leo, and Capricorn. I mean, we have Libra with the moon here, but yeah, we're getting quite a bit of that energy, and this feels kind of similar or residual energetically from the Leo reading, with the Six of Cups, and then the Four of Swords is also from the Pisces reading. So those are kind of the major signs that I'm getting, that you could have in your chart. You could be dealing with energetically, or I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Let me just go back to the cards, because I feel like I was about to branch off into another point there, but I don't think I am. And if I meant to, it will come back to me. So we have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is soulmate energy. It's self-love energy. It's self-recognition, self-adoration. So that takes you out of this place. If you're looking at past versions of yourself, that person doesn't live here anymore. The War on Drugs, the band, The War on Drugs, they have a song, I don't live here anymore. But yeah, you don't live there anymore. That person does not exist. That version of you does not exist. If you're dwelling in, oh, I was so hot in high school, like, who gives a shit? Like, you're hot now. And that's what this is, right? I'm also getting Six of Wands. That's more, Six of Wands is like that recognition. But with this Wands energy here, the Queen of Wands, the Three of Wands, and then this Knight of Wands, I feel like you're getting into this sort of chariot, right? You could have Cancer in your chart with, the moon. We've already talked about that, but that's that more masculine inspiration, that cardinal energy under that pot of water, right? Or that body of water, that vessel of water, and that makes Cancer, that makes the chariot. That's the masculine aspect of the moon, which also is the sun, right? So it's like that, it is clarity, right? When the sun comes up, the sun will come out. When the sun comes out, you get clarity on the grays and the muted colors, and the ambiguity of the mutable, maybe muted colors, maybe something with it that, like, you've been looking at something in a way, but it's just not been very clear. And I feel like I just spit all over the place. And the sun brings clarity. The heart brings clarity. The solar plexus and the heart chakra is where we're focusing this work on, right? Is inspiring the heart space so that you can follow your intuition, you can follow your gut, okay? Which is also that Virgo energy, so that takes you back to hermit mode, that takes you back into introspection, right? It's all linked together. So if you haven't watched the Why You Should Be Single for a Year reading, according to Tarot, then you can check that out. You can also check out the individual major arcana readings, so you might resonate with that if you're dealing with that major arcana, or you're just in that space energetically, like it could be that season, right? We are in Leo season. So you could be dealing with a lot of Leo energy because we're in Leo season. So if you're like, it's not in my chart, I'm not dealing with the Leo, not doing that, you're still in Leo energy. We're all in Leo energy right now because we're in that season. So it's, you might be struggling with the sun and strength, right? Having that strength and endurance to follow your heart space. And that could be because you don't feel inspired, right? So you can maybe find something in those, right? You already know what you're looking for. You already know what you know. Tarot is not to tell you something that you don't know. It's just to be, it's here for you to confirm what you already know. So you can make signs for, for yourself, for your own journey, to say, oh, I'm on my divine path if I see XYZ. And then guess what? You're going to see XYZ when you are on your divine path, when you're on that frequency. And if you feel like you're not seeing any of the signs that you've laid out to confirm that you're on the divine path, and that's that lack of clarity, that muted color, and you feel just sort of like gray, everything's sort of gray, and you're waiting for the sun to come out, you're waiting for the inspiration, then you can adjust your signs and say, well, when I see, like, if you're seeing gray around you, then say, when I see gray, I'm on my divine path, right? You can shift it and flip it. Put the thing down, flip it, and reverse it. So if you're feeling like, oh, I'm clumsy, I'm dropping things, okay? And that makes you feel more detached from your divine path or from source, then you can say, if I drop something, if I break a glass, that means I'm on my divine path, right? Instead of taking a superstitious perspective of saying like, oh, if I see a black cat, that's a bad omen, right? If that's your perspective, that's the hanged man, right? You could be very stuck in seeing things in a certain way that are not benefiting you, and they're pulling you further away from source, from what you already know to be true. You already know you're on this path. You already know your person. You already placed the order, right? When you were incarnated, you guys said, I'll meet you here, right? And if you're like waiting at the, I had that with the Leo reading, it was like they're waiting at the dock, but I was gonna say you're waiting at the gate, Lion's Gate maybe, maybe something around 8-8, but 8-8 is just, it's two mirrored cycles, right? Two infinite, oh, do that. It's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. I did it, okay. It's like two cycles mirroring each other. So 8-8, Lion's Gate, is really great for manifesting, right? Because it's like you're waiting to meet this person at the gate, and you already said you were going to meet there, right? So don't rush them. It's not like there's a meme that says it has somebody talking on the phone, and whoever's calling them, it's a guy, I think, and it's probably his girlfriend or his wife or something, and it's like, hurry up, and he's like, I'm on my way, and it's like, okay, hurry up, and then it says waits faster, and he's like waiting at a bus stop, and it's the blurred background, and he's still sitting there, but it's like waits faster. That was probably a terrible description of it, but if you know what I'm talking about, it's just funny because it's like they're on their way. Don't rush them. If they're in traffic, maybe they're stuck in traffic, This could be literally, maybe you're in communication with this person, with the Chariot as well. There could be a distance between you two where you feel like a literal distance between you two. But whether it's energetic in the 5D or it's literal in the 3D, there's a space between you guys. And especially if you're the feminine with the Queen of Wands here, right? If you're the feminine and you're waiting on the masculine, don't rush them. Like, they're getting there. They're going to get on the bus. They're going to make their way to you. They already know the destination. You don't need to send them the pin on maps anymore. They know where they're going, and it's coming. I just feel some impatience there. If that resonates. So just play in the 5D, play in your dreams with this person, laugh with them. Anytime that you break something, laugh at it. Anytime that you feel impatient, make light of the situation. I was saying make fun of yourself, but like make fun with yourself instead of making fun of yourself or like putting yourself down. Just have fun with it. Be snarky and, make fun with yourself. So if you're just like feeling really pitiful, laugh about how pitiful you feel. Like if you and your best friend are walking on the street and your friend trips, what do? You guys laugh and then you go, are you okay? As long as they didn't, it's just a trip or it's something kind of funny. It's not that serious, right? Maybe there's a scraped knee involved. But you're alive. You guys have breath. Everything is fine. You can't take money with you when you go, and you can't take debt with you when you go. So why worry about it? It's an illusion. Debt is an illusion. Time is an illusion in the sense that if you're having the time of your life, time can speed up. If you're watching a really good movie, it feels very short. If you're watching a shitty movie, it feels really long. But does it matter if it's a great movie? No. Right? And if you have 20 minutes with the love of your life, with your divine counterpart, isn't that going to be worth the wait? Versus decades with the wrong person because you're so impatient, you can't just give yourself and this person some grace to come together. I don't need to be so reprimandy, but I just feel like we need some tough love here. And I feel like our persons and the universe are kind of telling us to get out of our own way, right? Like, check yourself before you check anybody else. That's that. Two of Pentacles, balance, and see how they're kind of playing, like they're juggling the highs and the lows. Like it's all comparative, it's all relative. Like there's only a high because you're comparing it to a low. There's only a low because you're comparing it to a high. So it's just sort of that surfer, being a playful person, tapping into just having some fun in your space. If you're feeling bored, I watched Willem Dafoe, an interview where he said, you know, he likes the idea of trying to fail. So like trying to do something poorly. So create something, like try to make a bad painting, try to write a bad poem, and then laugh at it. Because if you're feeling like this woe is me, this wounded warrior, this failure, this 5 of Pentacles or 5 of Wands or blocked, any kind of lack in the 5s, the best way is to mirror it or round it up from a 5 to a 10, which is an ending, which is also a new beginning. So it's like, make something new out of it. Ride that parasite, baby. Like, just have fun with it. Because if you're locked into like this, how you were slighted or how you were deceived or how you were wronged by people, it's like, I know it's senseless, and it's very easy to say, oh, just get over it, you know, and we've had this conversation before, snap out of it, like, but I feel like it's like you're in your own way of just enjoying the moment of having fun and playing in the meantime, right? So just like if you're at the gate, you know, make a hacky sack, juggle some rocks, you know, find a lime rock and draw on the pavement. Like, just have some fun, and your person will come when they are ready. Because if you push them before they're ready, then you're going to have a runner chaser dynamic. That means you're not ready. Ow. My ankle's popping. That means you're not ready. That means that you are being conditional and impatient with yourself, which means you're not showing gratitude, you're not enjoying the moment, you're not, and that's a good thing too, is gratitude. And being ridiculous with it, right? It's not really ridiculous because there's science that shows that it works, but you know, thanking your water every time you take a sip, thank you. Just saying thank you. And if you stub your toe, thank you. Like, just say thank you anytime that it's sparked in you. Anytime you turn on running water, thank you. And it's like, you have running water. How many people don't have clean running water? Thank you. Leave it. Leave it. Good job. They just wanted me to say thank you to them. I wanted to get in on that gratitude. But yeah, anytime that the dogs come in, if you have dogs, right? Anytime that they come in, it's like, thank you. Like, that's a gift from the universe, that you have running water, that you have loved ones that message you, or dogs that come back to the house because they trust and love you, or because, you know, it's hot outside and they don't want to be out there anymore and the yard's fenced in and they don't have any choice. But it doesn't matter. Just say thank you. Just have some fun with it. Because here's that 5 of Cups. There's that it's a double clarifier here. It came out underneath the Six of Cups. So the Two of Pentacles clarifies this, and then this was just a secondary clarification that came out to say what I just said. You know, like, you have 2 cups behind you that are full. So stop whining about this. Quit being pitiful. Don't be down on yourself, right? Life is cool. Everything's cool. Knight of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. There it is. Ground yourself. Get yourself back into there. Play with the little inner children. Maybe you have children, right? Let them inspire you. When you start to show gratitude for the small things, right? You can go outside and look at bugs. Sit next to an anthill and just watch little creatures who are oblivious to all of the mundane and absurd concerns that we have in this fucking 3D reality that we have created, that society has created, that are fear-based to govern us. Break out of that by just acknowledging the small things and being grateful for them and admiring them, finding little moments in their world that is so pure, that make you laugh, that make you just sit for a moment and breathe, right? The Knight of Cups. Again, you could be dealing with a water sign, but this is you coming out of this fiery energy, coming out of this overheated, because what is fire as a shadow? It's anger, right? It's you coming out of anger and frustration, right? And then anxiety, right? Which anger and anxiety is like, it's all results of being hurt, of being deceived, of inability to trust in divine timing, in ourselves, in other people, and trusting our intuition, that we've done the work, that we're able to discern who is healthy for us and who is not. And if you're in that hermit mode, that means that you're telling the universe and yourself that you are not worthy of love, you are not worthy of someone who is going to reciprocate, because you're too afraid to open up to it, right? So the Knight of Cups is someone who's open to love. They're looking for it, they're ready, they've got their vessel there, ready to be filled up. And you're going to meet people who don't fill that cup, right? You're going to meet more people who don't fill it than do fill it. But you're so close to your divine union. Page of Pentacles and the Emperor. Bada bing, bada boom. 3 of Cups. There's that coming out of the 5 of Cups and celebrating. So they spilled over. Whoop. Oh well. You spill some water on the ground. It's like, okay, thanks for the mop water. Page of Wands, right? There's that decision, right? You're taking the 5s and you're splitting it up. If you're feeling a 5 in one area too, you can split it up and find gratitude in another element, and the decision. It's a decision to be grateful, right? Gratitude is a decision. And there's justice again, to clarify. So your karmic justice is coming. This Emperor is coming. And if you're the masculine, you're getting into this Emperor energy. You're coming out of this lack. You're really just coming into a place of, look how patient he is. He's not going to settle for anybody but an Empress. He's not going to pursue anybody but an Empress. So if you're the feminine, your Emperor is waiting for you to really get into your own strength, right? Get into your own balance, get into your playful energy. Kids are in a feminine energy because they have a lot of fire and passion, and they can be very active. So there is a good balance of masculine and feminine in children because they are pure, but they are closer to the 5D because they're closer to being incarnated. And that's why the mother, and you probably have with this, you probably have maternal fractures, right? It always goes back to the mother. So even if you have paternal fractures, the mother chose that person to procreate with and create you with. So if they don't like, if the mother doesn't like the dad, it's still like, but you chose them. And now I'm half of both of you, so you're rejecting a part of me as well. So that's why you want to like come into a divine union before you create life. But we rarely do that. Yeah, I feel like you're going to be maybe dating, maybe getting on a, maybe you're on a dating site. I say it like that because, yeah, they're just, they typically are, this energy, or the Knight of Wands in the lower frequency. All right, and then we have the Lovers as the last card. This union is coming, right? The devil in this deck is the binding, the attachment to the other person. It's karmic. This is the release of karmic cycles. This is a release of the old cycle, embracing the new, having gratitude for where you are and not comparing yourself, but just playing, right, with the highs and the lows, playing with the the impatience, or the waiting, playing with the waiting. Reminds me of those little games in like doctor's offices where, you know, they're the little, the kids play with them, there's like the most basic toys, but kids go crazy for those. When I worked in a daycare, they were just like, the bigger kids too, they're just like, what? You know, but I think it's because they're very simple, right? There's one path, right? It's not like a maze or anything like that, but it's like a fun ride. They're going up and down and right and left, but they're beads on a track. Bees on a track. Bees on a track. Nicki Minaj. But yeah, they're like beads on a track, so they only have one way to go, and that's the divine path, right? The divine path will lead you if you have fun with the rises and the falls, if you have fun with, you know, the ups and the downs, and whichever way it goes, it's like, oh, that was cool, because there's a faith in the knowing that the beads aren't going to fall off of there. They're going to end up on the other side. So I think there's like a comforting confirmation that like you could be good at that game because it's not competitive, really. It's just sort of like, I mean, you could race to see who can do it the fastest or whatever, but that's the Wands energy, and we're not doing that. We're all gonna get our beads to the other side. All right. I said that was the last one, but then I pulled two more because I wanted to. Page of Cups. So Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups. Again, could be dealing with a water sign. This individual is going to be very loving. They're going to be very nurturing. And if you're dealing with this Page of Pentacles energy, they could slow and steady, right? They're taking a while to come in. But in essence, these are pages. But there's an Emperor here, and there's Justice twice, right? It's not that you're going to be receiving a page in like an immature way. But you guys are, you know, there could be an age difference, but they're both pages here. So I feel like you're both going to be in that Six of Cups energy, which is very childlike, very playful. So if that's what you want to attract, if that sounds good to you, then get into that energy in your own space. Be silly, make some bad art, fuck up a little bit, and laugh about it. And just, if you trip, if you drop something, haha, are you okay? You know, thanks for the opportunity to laugh. You know, whatever it takes, just say thank you after brushing your teeth, right? Mundane things. Make the mundane fun. A fun day. And then you have the sun. So again, with that Leo energy, heart space energy, the sun will come out. It will illuminate these grays. So if you start appreciating the grays and looking at the grays as a sign that you're on the divine path, then you're going to start seeing other signs that you said you wanted to see to confirm you were on your path. And you know, maybe the signs that you wanted to see then aren't necessarily going to be confirmations for you anymore, right? Because you are shifting out of this old way of thinking, this old pattern, this old self. And so maybe what you were like, maybe the type of person you envisioned, or the dream life that you had envisioned for what you wanted to look like, what you wanted them to look like. Maybe you thought you were going to see, you know, 3 crows on, I don't know, a rock, and that was going to be your sign. Maybe that was a sign that you had designed for a past self. So the signs that you wanted to see then, or that would have been indicative that you were on your divine path then, are not necessarily going to be the signs that you see now. So create some new signs, you know, revitalize and refresh your space and your way of thinking and your way of being, and just be playful. And then you will attract playful energy. Because, you know, the devil does not like to laugh. They laugh at you, maybe. They snicker. But they mock, right? They don't like jokes and levity, right? They're like passive aggressive, sarcasm. So anyway, I hope there was something in here for you, and we will check back in soon enough. So yeah, if you feel called to do so, comment below. Like, let's have an exchange. Let's talk about where this is, maybe what your moon and your rising sign is. If any of this resonates, yeah, I like the conversation. So, and if you want to follow me over on Instagram, I do little reels, some just for humor, some are my artistic creations, and then some are yoga or spiritual practices for the major arcana, for the signs, and for whatever's going on astrologically. So if you want to follow over there for just kind of briefer touching bases, base touching, it's the same name, Being Terrorist. And if not, either way, I wish you well.